Hi there, I'm Tina. Welcome to this yoga foundational video for the yoga pose pyramid. Pyramid pose is a great pose to work on balance and strength in the hamstrings and the quads, provides a stretch, and also works on core strength. So let's go ahead and get into the fine-tune alignment for pyramid pose. For pyramid pose, we'll start at the front of our mat with feet hip width distance apart. And from here, we're going to step about halfway back with one foot. In my case, I'll step back with my left foot. Now, the back toes are going to be pointed towards the front of the mat as much as possible. They'll probably end up at a little angle, but we're looking for possibly the toes forward. So for pyramid pose, we are standing and our legs are in a V position. From here, we are going to go ahead and place your hands on your hips. And we're not going to lock that front knee. We're going to keep a slight bend in that front knee. And we're going to go ahead and pay some attention to our hip points. Now, our hip should be aligned to the front of the room, both hip points. You can imagine your hips have little beams of light shooting out, and imagine where they're shooting. So if your hips are to the side, you'll see they're not quite going the right direction. So we're going to be mindful of that hip alignment towards the front of the room. That's pretty key in pyramid pose. So from here, we're going to keep that spine long and strong, tucking that tailbone down, pulling that belly in, and not compromising our spine in this pose. So go ahead and place your hands on your hips and begin to pull those hip points toward the front of the mat and hinge forward at the hips, keeping that spine long and strong. Now you're going to notice you're going to get a stretch in that forward hamstring and the back hamstring as well. Now, keeping that spine long as possible, we are hinging forward, bringing the body as parallel to the mat as you can. Now, this is a great place to stay in pyramid pose. You can bring your hands down to the mat if you are flexible enough to reach down to the mat. I am not, because I have some back issues, maybe you do too. In that case, a modification is that you can grab your blocks and you can use your blocks to bring the floor up to you. Because the key here is you do not want to be compromising your spine. You want to keep that spine long, engaging that belly, not dumping and rounding into this to reach the floor. You're looking for a long spine. So wherever you are in your pyramid pose, aligning your hips toward the front of the room, spine is long, bringing your chest down, possibly bringing the floor up to you. You can place your block on whatever level suits you. Micro bend in that front knee and breathe. Gaze is down, belly is hugging in, lengthening through the neck and breathing here. Pyramid pose. So your hand position, if you don't want to bring it down to the mat, you can work on balance here by bringing your hands in prayer position at the Anjali Mudra at the heart. Another option is grabbing alternate elbows behind your back, opening that chest a little more and hinging forward. Pyramid pose. To come out of that, just go ahead and slowly rise up. And there it is. Let's go ahead and review that on the other side. So for pyramid pose, we will go ahead and start feet hip width distance apart, and stepping one foot, we'll try the other foot this time, back about halfway, pointing those toes toward the front of the mat. Most likely won't be all the way, might be at a 45-degree angle, but the thing that we're looking for is how are you going to align your hip points towards the front of the room? Both legs are strong and engaged. Micro bend, we're not locking out in that front, micro bending into that front leg, keeping the tailbone tucked in, core is engaged, long spine, chest is forward, lengthened neck, and we go ahead and hinge forward, keeping that spine long, 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 and going as deep into this pose as your body allows without dumping and rounding, with that long spine. Also, use the blocks if needed. That's where I'm at, and that's perfectly fine. Hands can be on blocks or prayer center if you're working on your balance, or elbows can be bound at the back of your spine, opening that chest, and really just going as deep as your body says to go. And you always need to listen to your body. So there you go for pyramid pose. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Thanks for joining me.